It's 8:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by J. Yogaraj, read by Soundit Avam. The President addresses Parliament on the economic revival progress. The Social Security Tariff and Value Added Amended Tax Act were taken for debate today in Parliament. The opposition leader says the main objective of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya is to expand the economic prospects instead of narrowing down. NPP parliamentarian Harini Amarasuriya alleges the present government is advocating that there is no option than the present leadership to address the economic crisis. The Matale district records lowest vulnerability despite persistent economic challenges. Schoolgirl dies suddenly during Kalavana's school assembly. The country's external sector performance has been a marked improvement year-on-year, with tourism fetching $342 million in January 2024. In news overseas, Singapore faces backlash over Taylor Swift deal. In sports, the second T20 between Sri Lanka and Bangladesh is being played at present. The Social Security Tariff and Value Added Amended Tax Act were taken for debate today in Parliament. The second reading, held on the 20th, was also taken for debate. Protective transaction, mortgage tax, company registration amended bills were also taken for debate today. Joining the debate, opposition leader Sajith Premadasa said the main objective of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya is to expand the economic prospects instead of narrowing down. He alleged that solutions to the public cannot be found through eyewash political activities. Minister Ali Sabri said, by looking at the 75-year post-independence history, there are three challenges which make a big impact on Sri Lanka to move forward. Joining the debate, parliamentarian Rohitha Abegunawardena said the reduction of the electricity tariff by 22% is a big relief to the customers and consumers. He also said that the present economic crisis should be managed properly. NPP parliamentarian Harini Amarasuriya alleged the present government is advocating that there is no option than the present leadership to address the economic crisis. Parliamentarian Professor Ranjit Bandara said that the state revenue on a daily basis is around 11 billion rupees and expense is 19 billion rupees. President Ranil Wickremesinghe, addressing Parliament today, announced that plans are underway to reduce the value-added tax in the future. As such, school exercise books, stationery items, medicines and medical equipment are planned to be exempted from the VAT. President Ranil Wickremesinghe has asserted that the nation's economy is experiencing robust growth as a result of the government's initiatives. According to the President's media division, consequently the President pledged further assistance to the people in the future. Stressing the methodical and scientific execution of these endeavours, the President emphasised his commitment to truthfulness over political gain. He clarified that his current endeavours are dedicated to national reconstruction rather than personal power accumulation. Addressing Parliament today, President Wickremesinghe lamented the tendency of certain political factions to prioritise rhetoric over tangible solutions. He argued that the intricacies of the country's economic challenges defy simplistic remedies, urging those versed in economic matters to acknowledge this reality. With the government strategy yielding tangible results, he urged swift legislative action to cement these gains, signalling the forthcoming submission of the Economic Reforms Act. In conclusion, President Wickremesinghe urged a collective decision on whether to persist with the current trajectory, to which promises economic revitalization or risk regression to the dire circumstances of 18 months prior. The Matale district in Sri Lanka ranked the lowest in Sri Lanka's Multidimensional Vulnerability Index (MVI) compared to national averages, recent data by the United Nations showed. With an MVI of 0.142, Matale has demonstrated commendable resilience against multidimensional vulnerabilities, notably lower than the national average of 0.206, according to the MVI district profiles launched by the United Nations Development Programme. The MVI is an indicator that attempts to capture the intersecting and overlapping vulnerabilities households face beyond measures of financial vulnerability, considering educational, health-related and other kinds of vulnerabilities. Despite the encouraging statistics, the district still grapples with significant economic challenges, particularly in employment and digital accessibility. Out of 620 households surveyed by the report, 65% of them had reported income reductions in October 2022. 34% have at least one household member with a disability. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. A 13-year-old student from the Mipagama school in Kalawana died after collapsing during the school's morning assembly today. The post-mortem examination to determine the cause of her death was scheduled to take place at the Kalawana hospital. The girl, who was in grade 8 and a resident of Kukulegama in Kalawana, collapsed during the assembly and was rushed to the Kalawana-based hospital. A hospital spokesperson said she was pronounced dead upon admission to the hospital. It was reported that the girl's elder brother had also succumbed to epilepsy a few months ago. State Minister Ranjit Siambalapitiya said the country's external sector performance has seen a marked improvement year-on-year, with tourism fetching $342 million in January 2024, an impressive 122% jump from last year. Speaking in Ruanvela, his home constituency, the Minister of State for Finance Ranjit Siambalapitiya was delving into the Central Bank of Sri Lanka's external sector indicators issued midweek. Siambalapitiya said the bank figures show that receipts from tourism had fetched $342 million, which is a 122% growth in January 2024 year-on-year. The inward remittances from Sri Lankan expats in January 2024 had grown by 5% to $488 million, up from $467 million in January 2023. That concludes local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe, addressing Parliament today, announced that plans are underway to reduce the value-added tax in the future. As such, school exercise books, stationery items, medicines and medical equipment are planned to be exempted from the VAT. President Ranil Wickremesinghe has asserted that the nation's economy is experiencing robust growth as a result of the government's initiatives. According to the President's media division, consequently, the President has pledged further assistance to the people in the future and came to you in the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
Moving on to Watchlight, the application process for the Presidential Scholarship Programme 2024-2025, targeting 100,000 school students facing economic difficulties, is now open, the President's media division reported. Accordingly, in line with the vision of President Ranil Wickremesinghe, applications will be accepted until March 20th, 2024. To apply, interested candidates can access the application form, instructions and all the relevant information in Sinhala, Tamil and English through the official Facebook page of the President's Fund at www.facebook.com/president.fund and the official website www.presidentsfund.gov.lk, and are required to submit their completed applications to the respective school principals before the deadline. The Ministry of Education has issued a special circular to zonal and provincial education officers and all principals of the government schools across the island regarding the selection process. Each school's principal will head a committee responsible for selecting eligible students with oversight from regional and provincial education authorities. The selection criteria outlined in the circular must be strictly adhered to, ensuring transparency throughout the process, and came to you in Watchlight.
Coming up, World News.
Making headlines tonight, Philippines urges China to show restraint in South China Sea. South Korean military holds counter-terrorism drills at key facilities in Seoul. And Singapore faces backlash over Taylor Swift deal. The Philippine government has called for China to exercise restraint in the disputed South China Sea. The comment came one day after Chinese Coast Guard ships fired water cannons at a Philippine military supply vessel, injuring 4 crew members. Manila says it was the most serious incident in a recent series of clashes and is urging China to resolve the issue through diplomacy without further heightening tensions. The Philippine South China Sea Task Force said at a news conference on Wednesday that the water cannon shattered windows in the vessel, injuring the crew. The South Korean military conducted counter-terrorism drills simulating attacks on key facilities in the capital, Seoul. The South Korean army held the drill at public broadcaster KBS in Seoul on Wednesday, simulating an attack by armed terrorists on the TV station. Personnel from the Special Operations confirmed procedures for storming the station from the entrance as well as the roof by a helicopter and bringing terrorists under control. Pop superstar Taylor Swift's concerts in Singapore have raised a bit of a diplomatic row, as other countries in Southeast Asia are not happy that the city-state made a deal that left them off the schedule. The US singer is visiting 5 continents to play over 150 shows, with 6 in Singapore set to wrap up on Saturday. Back to the headlines of the world news. Philippines urges China to show restraint in South China Sea. South Korean military holds counter-terrorism drills at key facilities in Seoul, and Singapore faces backlash over Taylor Swift deal. With that, we conclude this bulletin of world news.
Development news.
The Board of Coconut Cultivation has taken steps to prepare a program for the expansion of king coconut cultivation in the country. Accordingly, 86 villages have been selected as suitable for king coconut cultivation in the island, and it is special that these villages have been selected after examining the reasons for king coconut production. A huge demand for king coconut in our country has been created in the international market, and Sri Lanka has the monopoly on king coconut in the international market. The reason for this is that the taste and quality of king coconut in Sri Lanka is very high. Although many countries have tried to grow king coconut, they have not been able to get the quality of king coconut of Sri Lanka. Therefore, the demand for king coconut in our country is increasing daily, and came to you in development news.
Moving on with sports news.
The second T20 match between Sri Lanka and Bangladesh is being played at Sylhet grounds in Bangladesh. Bangladesh won the toss and elected to field first. Accordingly, Sri Lanka made 165 for 5 in 20 overs. In reply, Bangladesh were 135 for 2 wickets a short while ago. That's sports news. We take a look at business news next.
Go ekakthiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න as වහගෙන දැකපු හීන හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
Business news, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The Pan Asia Bank has forged a strategic partnership with AIA Insurance Lanka to provide comprehensive insurance solutions, including protection, health and investment solutions that meet the changing needs of the bank's valued customers. The Pan Asia Bank CEO Nalin Edirisinghe said, quoting, "We are pleased to partner with AIA Insurance to offer unparalleled customer convenience and a diverse array of insurance solutions spanning retirement plans, investment plans, life and health insurance. This strategic collaboration will offer our valued customers a much wider choice to ensure their financial security for a lifetime that best suits their needs without being constrained in their choices. Pan Asia Bank is committed to empower its customers with industry-best financial solutions," unquote. That came to you in business news, economic news to follow.
Business news, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekakthiyana youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න as වහගෙන දැකපු හීන හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
In economic news, Sri Lanka's economic indicators show steady recovery for February 2024, said First Capital Research FCR. The gross official reserves strengthened further during the month of January 24 to $4.5 billion. Inflows from multilaterals totaling to $700 million during December 2023, together with FX purchases carried out by the CBSL, positively contributed towards the growth in reserves during the period. That concludes economic news.
Weather report.
The Met Department says that mainly dry weather will prevail over the island. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in the western and Sabrugama provinces, also in the Gaul and Matara districts during the morning. This weather report was published this evening at 7:30 p.m. Further details could be obtained by visiting the official website of the department. To conclude this bulletin of news, a recap of the headlines. The President addresses Parliament on the economic revival progress. The Social Security Tariff and the Value-Added Amended Tax Act were taken for debate today in Parliament. The opposition leader says the main objective of the Samagi Jana Balavegya is to expand the economic prospects instead of narrowing down. NPP parliamentarian Harini Amarasuriya alleges the present government is advocating that there is no option than the present leadership to address the economic crisis. The Mathale district records the lowest vulnerability despite persistent economic challenges. Schoolgirl dies suddenly during Kalavana's school assembly. The country's external sector performance has seen a marked improvement year-on-year, with tourism fetching $342 million in January 2024. Singapore faces backlash over Taylor Swift deal. And the second T20 between Sri Lanka and Bangladesh is now being played at present.